everybody, welcome to my Mabon video. I just ran into a black bear and I thought that was really interesting because the other night I had a dream vision that I was gonna run into a black bear, and I did see another black bear in my apple tree a couple days ago, but I think that it was leading me to this moment. I am at the maple tree once again. It is blistering hot out. The sun is right on me. It is so hot. When I'm under the maple tree, she looks pretty much the same as she did at Lammas. She's a little bit dry, but from far away I can see her leaves starting to turn yellow, and so she is transitioning. And yeah, I just really love this spot, and she always calls me. I also just noticed that the offering that I made earlier in the summer is still here, and I love that. I'm going to share 3 ways to honor and celebrate this Sabbath, and let's chat a little bit about what's going on. So with Mabon, we reach another balance point within the wheel of the year. The sun and the moon are balanced once again, just like they are at the spring equinox and at Ostara. So with Mabon, we've reached the fall equinox and we are transitioning into fall, and so red and brown and yellow, those are colors that really represent this Sabbath because those are the colors that we're seeing in nature. With Mabon, a lot of the work that we did starting at the beginning of the wheel of the year is really coming into manifestation. Mabon is a really beautiful time to rest and reflect and integrate and just kind of witness the balance within ourselves, or the lack thereof, and witness the balance within nature, and just really take this time to prepare for the descent that we will be taking into the darkness, into the shadows quite soon. So Mabon is a point of divine balance within ourselves and with nature, and this is a really grounding time of the year. Mabon is also the second harvest. It's a harvest festival. At Lammas we had our first harvest, Mabon is the second, and Samhain is the third. So we have a lot of similar symbolism that we had at Lammas in terms of wheat and brooms and harvesting from our gardens. I will admit my garden failed. I hardly got anything from my garden, and I will make a video on that at some point. But yeah, so I'm not harvesting too much, although my apple tree did give me a ton of apples for the first time in 5 years, and so that's very exciting for me. So I got lots of apples. Yeah, so this is just a Sabbath to really reflect and rest and witness and really just reflect on all the work that you did throughout the wheel, and start to begin to prepare yourself for the descent into the shadows and into the darkness that comes with Samhain. Essentially, we are about to transition with the earth, and so take this time to really take care of yourself and show gratitude for all the work that you did, not just to the earth for the harvest that you are receiving. Really witness what you have harvested from within your own inner well, and yeah, just really take it easy this Mabon. And there's just been so much going on. This has been one of the most intense wheels I feel in recent memory, and so I'm personally taking this Mabon kind of easy. I do have a lot on my plate, but I've decided not to go to any celebrations and just focus on myself. I have a personal initiation coming up in about a month and a half, and so I'm just taking this time to really reflect on all of the work that I've done. And so yeah, that's what I also recommend you do this Mabon, is just create balance within you and start to create space within you for these transitions that are about to occur. So Mabon is typically between September 21st and the 24th and aligns with the fall equinox. It is also the second harvest. It's a harvest Sabbath, as I mentioned. The green man is a god that is associated with Mabon, and there are lots of herbs and flowers that you can work with during this time as well, like yarrow and rosemary, rose hips, and sunflowers, wheats, and also lots of berries. Those are really great things to work with right now. I have several Mabon traditions, which I will share about in a second. So, and they all align with the herbs and the flowers that are available during this time on the wheel. Apples are a very strong symbol of Mabon, so that's one of the differences between Mabon and Lammas. So doing apple magic with apple seeds and just really eating a lot of apples and berries and things like that. Those are really great things to do in to celebrate Mabon. As well, an interesting link that I was thinking about, we are about to enter into a descent into the darkness and in the shadows, and we really want to prepare ourselves for that. And apples are one of the strongest foods out there that really cleanses the liver, and so really consuming apples is really great to prepare our physical body and our energy for the coming transition and the transition of energies that will about to occur at Samhain. One of the differences between Mabon and Lammas in terms of the harvest symbolism is apples. Apples are a really big symbol of Mabon, and doing apple magic at this time of the year is really great. And as we prepare our energetic and spiritual physical body for that descent into the darkness, consuming apples can actually really support you, because apples are very cleansing for the liver and for the body, and it can just be an assistance, an ally for you as you prepare to go into that descent. So let's jump into my 3 tips for honoring and celebrating Mabon this year. Tip number 1 is to create tradition. I have a Mabon tradition that's really sacred to me. Every year, the week leading up to Mabon, I go and harvest coastal mugwort. I hike into an old growth forest and I do that, and I use the mugwort that I collect through the entire coming wheel, through the entire year. I smoke it, I drink it, I hang it in my house, I burn it, and I have a ceremony coming up where I'm going to be gifting some of this mugwort because it means something really special to me. So collecting that mugwort is one of my Mabon traditions. Another Mabon tradition that I have is I collect blackberries and I make blackberry paper for my spell book or my book of shadows. I soak the paper in the blackberries and just color it, and then I dry it, and then it's kind of a way to spell your paper in a way. I infuse my intention and nature into the paper. So that's another tradition that I have for Mabon. So creating these traditions allows us to create consistency. It allows us to witness our devotion to our path, and it allows us to really reconnect with what's happening in nature. I think I've already mentioned, but the previous Sabbats leading through the summer are so busy that Mabon is just a really great sweet spot on the wheel, because it just allows us that time to rest and reflect. And so I really recommend taking this time to create some traditions for yourselves that really align with your lifestyle. Make them as simple or as complicated as you want, but creating traditions is a really great thing to do and allows us to kind of upkeep with our spiritual practice in a way. Tip number 2 is to do a deep clean of your house. This really helps us to prepare for the coming descent and the witch's new year at Samhain. Once that time arrives, there's a lot swirling around, and so being prepared for that ahead of time really allows us to be in it when it's going on. So preparing for that time is really good to do with Mabon. So deep cleaning your house is something that we do with the spring equinox with Ostara, where the sun and the moon are also at a balanced state. And so doing that at the equinoxes is just a really great time to reset your sacred space and allow it to affect you in a positive way. So clean out all that dust, all that gunk, whatever it is. Clean out your wardrobe, reorganize, reassess what's working for you and what's not, and really create that sacred space in your home and within yourself so that you are prepared for the coming descent into your shadows. Tip number 3 is to craft a Bezum. This is a really great thing to do because we can hang it in our entryways and it can catch the energy as it moves between the threshold, between the inside and the outside of our house. I have my main broom that I keep at the main threshold in my house, but at Mabon I also like to create a disposable Bezum that I keep at the threshold of my front door. So I will let go of this Bezum. When I feel that it is become very stagnant, has collected as much energy as it can, I'll return the ingredients back to nature. But this is just a great thing to do at this time, as the veil between the spiritual worlds is beginning to thin and all of those spirits and that energy is really starting to circulate. This is a great thing to do to create spiritual protection and energetic cleansing. I have very specific plants and herbs that I like to use. I really love to use yarrow. Yarrow is a great spiritual protector. It's a very hardy plant as well, so it's great for making a Bezum. And I also like to add some sage in there and rosemary. Rosemary is something that I plant around my house to protect it. And I also recently named my house Rosemary, and so those are very intentional herbs that I will put in my Bezum. Wheat is also another great symbol of Lammas and Mabon with the harvest sabbats, and so you can include that as well. But create a Bezum that you can dispose of when you feel the time is right, and this is a great way to prepare for what is about to occur with Samhain, and it's also just a really fun craft to do with Mabon in your relaxation state. So that is all for my Mabon video. Pretty short and sweet because, again, I just recommend taking this time to be balanced, not take on too much. I have a lot actually on my plate this year, and so I'm just taking Mabon a bit easier and trying not to overload myself, and I'm really being forced into a place where I'm having to set my boundaries and say no to people because I really need to focus on myself right now. So really, I mean, a fourth tip could be really to reassess your boundaries if you need to. So there's an extra tip for you. So thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next Sabbath video. Bye.